Dogecoin, the coin that brought meme coins to absolute mainstream. How did one meme coin that was supposed to be a joke manage to reach third spot out of all cryptocurrencies? At one point in time, Doge reached market cap of $88 billion, and still to this day, it remains in top 10 most valuable cryptocurrencies. Today, we will explain everything you need to know about it, even if you are a complete beginner, because every video on Bitcoin Academy is 100% beginner friendly. We will even explain how Elon Musk, #1 billionaire in the world right now, was involved in the rise of Doge. So without wasting any more time, let's dive inside topic number 1 and explain what is Dogecoin and why was it even created. If you've never heard of Dogecoin before, the name might sound strange, and that's not an accident. Dogecoin started as a joke, but what began as internet humor quickly turned into one of the most recognizable cryptocurrencies in the world. And despite being created as a parody, it managed to grow into a multi-billion-dollar digital asset. And as we already mentioned during introduction, it once reached the third highest market cap in all of crypto. To understand how that happened, we need to go back to 2013, when Dogecoin was first born. At that time, Bitcoin had been around for a few years and was starting to make headlines. But most people didn't really understand it. Cryptocurrency was still seen as something complicated, technical, and even shady. The space was filled with serious discussions about finance, code, and mining. That's where two people, Markus, a software engineer from the United States, and Jackson Palmer, a marketing professional from Australia, decided to take a different approach. They thought the world of crypto needed something more lighthearted and fun, so they created Dogecoin. Instead of trying to compete with Bitcoin, they made Dogecoin as a parody, a joke about how easy it was to create a cryptocurrency. But here's the twist. Even though it started as a joke, Dogecoin actually worked. It had its own blockchain, its own code base, originally based on Litecoin, and its own digital coin. You could send it to other people, use it for online payments, early crypto-friendly ecosystems, or just hold it in a wallet like any other crypto. In other words, Dogecoin was real. The name Dogecoin was inspired by a popular internet meme at the time, which featured a picture of a Shiba Inu dog with funny, broken English captions written in colorful text. That meme was everywhere online in 2013, and it gave Dogecoin its playful image. But more important than the meme was the attitude behind the project. It wasn't trying to revolutionize finance. It was trying to make crypto approachable, and that worked. People who felt intimidated by Bitcoin found Dogecoin easy and fun. It was simple, cheap to use, and fast, with transactions confirmed every minute instead of every 10 minutes like Bitcoin. In its early days, Dogecoin was used mostly for small online payments and tipping content creators, the kind of thing that didn't need heavy security or long wait times. The Dogecoin community even organized fundraisers for good causes, like sponsoring an Olympic team or raising money for charities. That community spirit helped the coin grow. What made Dogecoin different wasn't just its technology, it was the culture around it. People weren't using it because they thought it would make them rich. They were using it because it was fun, friendly, and open to everyone. And even though the creators never meant for it to be taken seriously, it quietly built up a following that believed in it anyway. Years later, that same community and identity would help Dogecoin explode in popularity again, with help from celebrities, social media, and one billionaire in particular, Elon Musk. But we'll get to that in a future topic. And speaking about future topics, we already reached topic number 2, which will explain how Dogecoin actually works. Because even though it started as a joke, the technology behind it is real and surprisingly effective at doing what it was built for: fast, low-cost transactions. To begin with, Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency, which means it's a digital form of money that lives on a decentralized network. It doesn't rely on any central authority like a bank or government to keep things running. Instead, it uses something called proof of work, the same general system that Bitcoin uses to secure its network and confirm transactions. But while the basic idea is similar, there are some important differences that make Dogecoin faster, cheaper, and in some cases, even more user-friendly. So what is proof of work? Think of it like a race between computers. These machines, called miners, compete to solve complex puzzles. When one of them solves the puzzle, it gets to add a group of transactions to the public ledger, known as the blockchain, and earns a reward in some amount of Dogecoin. This process keeps the network secure and ensures that no one can cheat the system or spend the same coins twice. But here's where Dogecoin starts to separate itself. Unlike Bitcoin, which adds a new block every 10 minutes, Dogecoin adds a new block every 1 minute. That means transactions get processed more frequently. If you've ever tried to use Bitcoin during a busy time and had to wait 30 minutes or more for your transaction to confirm, Dogecoin can feel lightning fast by comparison. That short block time is one of the reasons why people love using Dogecoin for things like small payments and tips. And not only is it fast, it's also cheap. Because Dogecoin isn't as congested as Bitcoin or Ethereum, and because of its simpler design, the fees for sending it are usually a tiny fraction of a cent. You could send someone $1 worth of Dogecoin, and the fee might be less than a penny. That kind of efficiency makes it ideal for microtransactions, things like tipping someone online or paying for low-cost services. Now, there's something else unique about Dogecoin's design that's important to understand: its supply model. Unlike Bitcoin, which has a fixed maximum supply of 21 million coins, Dogecoin has no hard cap. New Dogecoins are constantly being created, about 10,000 every minute. That's part of its inflationary model, which we'll explore in more detail later on when we talk about skepticism. But for now, just know that this unlimited supply helps keep Dogecoin accessible and prevents early holders from dominating the market entirely. It's a trade-off between scarcity and utility. Another interesting fact is that Dogecoin is actually based on Litecoin, which itself was based on Bitcoin. That means it inherits many of the security features of those earlier projects, but uses a slightly different mining algorithm called Script. This algorithm is less resource-intensive than Bitcoin's, making Dogecoin easier to mine, especially in its early days. And it allowed everyday users to participate without needing massive mining rigs, which are basically computers with high computational power. In fact, Dogecoin and Litecoin are even merged mined today, meaning miners can secure both networks at the same time without using extra energy. So to sum it all up, Dogecoin works on a proof-of-work system, just like Bitcoin, but it's faster, cheaper, and easier to use. It processes blocks every minute, keeps fees extremely low, and has an inflationary supply model that prioritizes accessibility over scarcity. And all of that sounds great, but what is Doge actually used for? Let's find out in topic number 3. While Dogecoin may have started as a parody, it developed real functionality and found its place in crypto culture. And believe it or not, there are actual use cases where Dogecoin works better than many people expect. Especially for beginners, it's one of the easiest cryptocurrencies to start using because of its speed, low fees, and approachable image. One of the earliest and most consistent uses of Dogecoin has been online tipping. On platforms like Reddit and Twitter, users would tip each other small amounts of Doge as a way to say thanks or support content they liked. It became a fun, fast way to transfer value, especially in a time when Bitcoin and Ethereum were already starting to slow down or become more expensive to use. With Dogecoin, sending a few cents or $1 worth of crypto didn't feel like a big deal, and the fees were so small that no one had to worry about losing value in the process. In many ways, it felt like a digital version of tossing someone a coin for good work. Casual, instant, and friendly. Beyond tipping, Dogecoin was also used in community fundraising and donations. One of the most famous examples happened in 2014 when the Dogecoin community raised over $25,000 to help send the Jamaican bobsled team to the Winter Olympics. Another time, Dogecoin users raised money to fund clean water projects in Kenya and sponsored a NASCAR driver. These events weren't just about charity. They showed the power of a global internet-native currency that could be moved quickly and used to unite people for a cause. It proved that Dogecoin could do real things, even if the culture around it was filled with jokes and memes. When it comes to payments, Dogecoin has also been accepted by a number of online retailers and platforms over the years. Websites like Newegg, AMC Theaters, and even some Shopify stores have accepted Doge at various points, especially after it surged in popularity in 2021. Payment processors like BitPay have made it easier for merchants to accept Dogecoin alongside Bitcoin and other major cryptocurrencies. While it's not as widely used as Bitcoin or Ethereum in terms of commercial payments, it has found a niche among businesses that want to appeal to crypto-friendly customers in a lighthearted way. Part of Dogecoin's appeal is psychological. Because it's cheap and inflationary, people are more willing to spend it instead of holding on to it like digital gold. With Bitcoin, for example, many users hesitate to spend it, thinking it might be worth more in the future. But with Dogecoin, the idea has always been more casual. Use it, tip with it, donate with it, trade it for fun. That spending culture actually gives Doge more movement in the real world than many other cryptocurrencies that are technically more advanced, but rarely leave cold storage wallets. It's also used for trading and speculation, of course. A large portion of Dogecoin activity today happens on crypto exchanges. People buy it as a low-cost entry point into crypto or as a way to speculate on short-term market moves. That's not the most exciting or revolutionary use case, but it's a real one. Especially when Dogecoin makes headlines, trading volume skyrockets and millions of dollars can move through Doge markets in a single day. In the next topic, we'll talk about how Dogecoin went from being a fun little internet coin to something that could actually shake up global markets. All thanks to memes, social media, and one man with a rocket company. Let's dive in. If you've ever seen a cryptocurrency make headlines for something completely unrelated to finance or technology, there is a good chance it was Dogecoin. Because what happened with Dogecoin in 2021 wasn't just about price. It was about culture, memes, and the strange power of the internet to move global markets. And at the center of it all was Elon Musk, the richest person in the world, and someone who knew exactly how to turn a tweet into a global event. But before we get to him, let's talk about how Dogecoin even got into a position to become a viral phenomenon in the first place. Unlike most cryptocurrencies, Dogecoin didn't grow because of its roadmap, white paper, or developer conferences. It grew because people liked it. The early community behind Dogecoin was built on humor, generosity, and internet culture. That gave it a very different tone compared to Bitcoin or Ethereum, which were often seen as serious or even intimidating. Dogecoin was approachable, and that made it perfect for social media, where jokes, memes, and viral content spread faster than anything else. So, when the crypto market started booming again in late 2020 and early 2021, Dogecoin was perfectly positioned to catch a new wave of attention. What started as inside jokes on Reddit and Twitter turned into massive movements. People made TikToks predicting Dogecoin would hit $1. Memes started going viral about holding Doge to the moon. But then, something happened that no one expected. Elon Musk joined the conversation. Elon didn't just tweet about Dogecoin once. He made it a recurring theme. He called it the people's crypto, posted memes about Doge becoming the future currency of Mars, and even changed his Twitter bio to simply say, Doge. Every time he tweeted, the price would spike. And we're not talking small moves. Single tweets from Elon Musk could cause Dogecoin to jump 20, 50% or more in short time frame. It was unlike anything the crypto market had ever seen before. He even went on national television during his appearance on Saturday Night Live and made jokes about Dogecoin in front of millions of viewers. The result? Massive volatility, but also massive visibility. That kind of attention had a real impact. By May 2021, Dogecoin reached an all-time high of around 73 cents, giving it a total market cap of over $88 billion. That made it more valuable than major banks and companies like FedEx, Ford, and even Twitter itself at the time. People who had bought Dogecoin early, even as a joke, suddenly found themselves holding fortunes. Others jumped in hoping to ride the wave. It became a self-fulfilling meme. The more people joked about Dogecoin going to the moon, the more attention it got, and the more the price seemed to rise. But it wasn't just Elon. Other celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Mark Cuban, and even brands started tweeting about or accepting Dogecoin. The Dallas Mavericks basketball team began taking Doge for tickets and merchandise. And this wasn't just a temporary trend. It was a sign that the lines between internet culture and finance were starting to blur. Memes weren't just jokes anymore. They were moving billions of dollars. Of course, this kind of explosive growth also attracted critics. Some saw Dogecoin's rise as a sign of how irrational the market had become. Others worried that people who didn't understand crypto were getting pulled into something they didn't fully grasp just because it was funny or trending. And those concerns are real. Dogecoin is still a very volatile asset, and it's important for anyone involved to understand the risks. But regardless of where you stand, one thing is clear. Dogecoin showed the world that financial movements can come from unexpected places. It proved that attention, not just technology, and can drive value in the crypto space. And it forced the traditional finance world to take a second look at what they once dismissed as a joke. Time for next topic. First one that will bring real questions to the table. Let's explore it. At this point, you might be wondering, is Dogecoin actually legit, or is it still just a meme with no real purpose? That's a fair question, and it's one that both newcomers and experienced investors have asked ever since Dogecoin started gaining attention. After all, it was made as a joke. It has a dog on the logo, and it doesn't claim to be a revolutionary financial system. But just because something starts as a joke doesn't mean it can't grow into something meaningful. So let's break it down. Dogecoin is a real cryptocurrency in the sense that it has its own blockchain, its own token, and it runs on a working network that people can use to send and receive digital money. Technically speaking, it functions just like other major cryptocurrencies. You can store it in a crypto wallet, transfer it across the world in seconds, and use it to make payments, all without a bank or credit card company in the middle. That makes it just as real as any other coin from a technical standpoint. But the more complicated part of this question has to do with value. What gives Dogecoin its worth? Is it useful enough to stick around long term? Or is the hype doing most of the heavy lifting? For some people, Dogecoin's value comes from its active community, fast and cheap transactions, and ease of use. These features make it especially appealing for beginners who don't want to deal with complex wallets, high fees, or long wait times. And unlike other coins that are surrounded by complicated technical documents or confusing developer jargon, Dogecoin is easy to understand. That simplicity has helped it stay relevant, even as the crypto world has gotten more crowded. But critics have a different view. One of the main concerns is that Dogecoin hasn't seen much development over the years. While the code is maintained and updated occasionally, it doesn't have the kind of rapid innovation or upgrade cycles you'll see with projects like Ethereum. There's no big vision for smart contracts, decentralized apps, or financial systems. It mostly just does one thing, sending value, and it does that fairly well. But for some people, that's not enough to justify its long-term potential. Another criticism is that Dogecoin's price is driven more by social media and celebrity endorsements than actual utility. It tends to spike when someone famous tweets about it, then fall again once the excitement fades. That makes it risky for people who buy in expecting long-term growth. While it's true that all cryptocurrencies can be volatile, Dogecoin's price often moves in ways that have little to do with what's happening on its network. And then there's the question of supply. Dogecoin has no maximum limit on how many coins can exist. About 10,000 new Dogecoins are created every minute, which adds up to over 5 billion new coins every year. That's very different from Bitcoin, which has a fixed supply. Dogecoin's inflation model is intentional. It's designed to keep coins available and encourage spending rather than hoarding. But it also means that over time, each Dogecoin may hold less value unless demand keeps up. We'll cover this in more depth in the next topic. So, is Dogecoin just a meme, or is it a real cryptocurrency? The truth is, it's both. It started as a meme, but it works. It has real features, real users, and real-world activity. But at the same time, it doesn't have a clearly defined future or major technological goals, at least not compared to some of the more complex projects in crypto. Whether that's a problem depends on what you expect from it. If you're looking for a fun, easy-to-use digital coin, Dogecoin does the job. If you're looking for something that will power the next wave of financial innovation, it might not be the answer. Okay, but there's one more major skepticism surrounding Dogecoin, and that is the question of centralization. So let's explore it. One of the most important promises of cryptocurrency is decentralization. That means no single person, company, or government has full control. Instead, power is spread across a global network of users. But with Dogecoin, this idea gets more complicated, and it's something many people, especially beginners, don't fully realize. Let's start with mining. Dogecoin uses a system called proof of work, just like Bitcoin. That means miners, basically powerful computers, solve puzzles to add new blocks to the blockchain and earn rewards. But Dogecoin mining today is mostly done through large mining pools. These are groups of miners working together, and they dominate most of the network. Even more interesting, Dogecoin is now merged mined with Litecoin. That means most miners are really focused on Litecoin, but earn Dogecoin on the side. So in a way, Dogecoin depends on another network to stay secure. That setup makes mining less accessible for regular users, and it concentrates control in fewer hands, which is a potential red flag when it comes to decentralization. Then there's the developer side. Dogecoin doesn't have a big team constantly pushing out updates like Ethereum or newer projects. In fact, for years, the project had almost no active development at all. Only after Dogecoin went viral again did a few developers come back to maintain the code. Today, development is minimal, and there's no foundation or clear roadmap. That means only a few people are guiding how or if the project evolves. And what about ownership? This is where things really raise eyebrows. Studies have shown that a small number of wallets hold a huge portion of all Dogecoin. In the past, one single wallet held over 20% of the entire supply. No one knows exactly who owns that wallet. It could be a big exchange or maybe a private holder, but that kind of concentration gives too much power to too few people. If any of these major holders decided to sell suddenly, it could crash the market. When you put all of this together, mining being dominated by a few pools, development controlled by a small group, and ownership concentrated in a handful of wallets, it's fair to ask, is Dogecoin really decentralized? The answer is partially. It's open source, anyone can use it, and the network runs without a central company behind it. But it definitely has weak points when it comes to true decentralization, especially compared to more serious crypto projects with stronger governance and wider participation. This is why some investors avoid Dogecoin. They see it as fun and culturally iconic, but not strong on fundamentals. Others don't mind. They just want a simple, fast, and entertaining coin to use or trade. At the end of the day, Dogecoin still works. But understanding these risks helps you make smarter decisions. Because decentralization isn't just a buzzword, it's a key part of what makes crypto different from traditional systems. And with Dogecoin, it's important to know where those lines get blurry. All right, now after understanding all we covered so far, let's dive inside future outlook of Dogecoin. So far, we've explored how Dogecoin started as a joke, how it works, what it's used for, and the skepticism it faces. But now comes the big question. Does Dogecoin actually have a future in the crypto world? Or is it just a relic of meme culture that had its moment? To answer that, we need to understand where the crypto industry is going. The next era of blockchain isn't just about sending coins back and forth. It's about smart contracts, decentralized finance, NFT-based technology, tokenized assets, and real-world utility. Platforms like Ethereum, Solana, and Avalanche are pushing boundaries with tools that let developers build complex financial systems, games, apps, and much more, all on blockchain. So where does that leave Dogecoin? To be clear, Dogecoin was not built for that kind of ecosystem. It's not designed to run smart contracts, host apps, or interact deeply with other decentralized systems. Its focus has always been simple, fast, cheap digital payments. And while that has value, it also limits how much it can evolve. Dogecoin also doesn't have an official team or roadmap pushing new features like DeFi integrations or Layer 2 scaling. Compare that to Ethereum, which has thousands of developers constantly innovating. Dogecoin development, by contrast, is maintained by a small group of volunteers. Without stronger leadership or long-term vision, it risks falling behind, especially as newer, more advanced blockchains continue to rise. That said, Dogecoin does have advantages that could help it stay relevant. First, it has one of the strongest brand identities in crypto. Everyone knows the Shiba Inu meme. It's recognizable, friendly, and appeals to people outside the usual tech crowd. That kind of cultural power can't be underestimated. It draws attention, builds community, and keeps Dogecoin in the public conversation. It will also have that first mover entertainment advantage. Second, Dogecoin is still widely traded and liquid. It has listings on almost every major crypto exchange, from Binance to Coinbase. It also has merchant support through payment services like BitPay. Even Tesla has accepted Doge for merchandise. That means it's more accessible than many other coins, and it's easy for anyone, even beginners, to get started with. And third, Elon Musk still supports it. While celebrity hype isn't a substitute for technology, Musk's ongoing interest in Dogecoin and hints about using it more seriously in the future, especially on X, formerly Twitter, keeps investors' eyes on it. So can Dogecoin compete? Maybe not as a tech platform, but possibly as a payments-focused coin, a kind of digital fun money for the internet generation. If future upgrades improve scalability or add basic smart features, it might even expand its role. But without real innovation, Dogecoin likely won't lead the next wave of crypto growth. It'll stay in the ecosystem, just not at the cutting edge, promising technology. In the end, Dogecoin's staying power depends on how the community evolves. If developers return and push forward new ideas, or if it finds a killer use case like social tipping or microtransactions on major platforms, it could surprise people again. But even if it doesn't, Dogecoin has already proven something powerful, that culture, fun, and simplicity still matter in a world of complex finance. And that's a lesson the entire crypto industry can learn from. And seeing you stay until now made me realize that you are serious about crypto education. And if that is the case, make sure to check one of these 2 videos you see on the screen right now. Educating yourself is the key to make success in world of cryptocurrencies. As you could see, Bitcoin Academy videos don't make bold price predictions like many influencers do. We chose to educate and give you all information that can help you make your own conclusions. Hope you found the video helpful. If yes, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button.